UFC 324 full card predictions. Let's get right into it. Adam Fugitt versus Ty Miller. Um, Fugitt has a lot of dangerous weapons. The guy is a fierce wrestler. I think his biggest detriment is probably his age at this point, and he definitely falls off a cliff. He's 37 now, so he's 12 years older than Miller. Obviously, the percentages, the metrics are against him in that regard. He's not at a big size disadvantage here, though. And he's a more accurate guy with his strikes, and I think he's the much more potent wrestler. We haven't really seen enough of Miller to know, can he stop takedowns at this level? You watch Fugitt versus Michael Morales. Fugitt was giving it to Morales. I mean, he was looking bad for Morales for a while there. And Fugitt, I do think he's a talented enough wrestler to at least test Miller. I mean, big time. I was surprised to see the odds. The odds makers have no respect for Fugitt ever. Fugitt's shown an ability. If the guy can't really wrestle, I mean, he's screwed. Kinoshita obviously is less imposing than a guy like Ty Miller, who is tall, rangy, and he is dangerous once he gets going. You know, he's got high volume. We saw that against Jimmy Drago. Don't really rate Drago, though. And Drago was having luck early, landing some hard shots on Miller. Fugitt is dangerous, man, and he's got so much experience. He's trading wins and losses here, and you look at his losses against Morales, Malat, Dulatov. When Malat is like the worst of those guys on your record that you're losing to, that's not a bad thing. This guy has been tested. He's battle tested. If you're wary of the age and of his gas tank and him falling off a cliff, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I think this fight probably ends in finish either way because Fugitt is an absolute finisher. And if Ty Miller's going to give him the chance, Fugitt's going to finish him. And Ty, once he gets going and Fugitt falls off a cliff, he'll definitely stop Fugitt on the feet. I'm gonna take the dog shot here on Fugitt. It's just too enticing. I mean, the odds makers yet again disrespecting this guy. He's got a ton of tools. The weapons are there. You know, the wrestling is there. It's not like Fugitt is just some striker. You know, he's got serious wrestling in his back pocket. Ty Miller might prove me wrong with the size, the aggression, the volume over time. I think Fugitt being a southpaw is going to test him, though. It's going to be able to let him shoot on him early, Fugitt shoot on Miller early. I think he gets the job done. I mean, it's going to be risky, and once Fugitt starts eating big punches, it's not going to be good. But if Fugitt can work him early enough, which I do think he'll have some luck early, we'll see how far he can take that. So it's worth the dog shot, 100%. This guy's almost 3-1 here, so I'll do that. On a guy who's debuting, really only showed us a Contender Series fight, a fight in which he actually ate some big shots, too, from, you know, kind of a middling fighter. So people are high on Ty Miller. Got to take the dog shot there. Turcios versus Smotherman. I should say Ricky Turcios versus Cameron Smotherman. Ricky Turcios is honestly, no offense, I love his post-fight speeches. I think he's a cool cat. He is one of the worst fighters I've ever seen step into the octagon. I know he had a solid performance against Sopai, but he only had a solid performance when Sopai fell off a cliff. And Sopai's known to do that. He's got a horrible gas tank. We saw Loke Dog just take his soul in that fight. If you are going to ride Turcios' hype a little bit and be like, well, he did look really good against Sopai, who is a solid fighter until the third round, I don't blame you. But, you know, if Turcios is depending on Smotherman falling off a cliff, I don't think that happens. Cameron is very patient. He's poised in there. He's going to have the range by a long shot. It's weird because it says Turcios has longer reach and they're the same height. But the way they use it, you know, Turcios doesn't use his range at all. Smotherman uses it very well. So when Turcios crashes the distance, what's wrong with me tonight? Smotherman's going to be there waiting for counters. So it is interesting that Turcios is the bigger man metrics-wise, and obviously he's always going to outpace the opponent. But there's a reason why Cameron's a 2-1 favorite here, and I do like him in this fight. I don't like how he engages. I don't like how he chooses to avoid damage in moments. I mean, after that Zahabi fight, that was all I really needed to see, you know, and Smotherman can play that same game, just pot-shotting him all night, and Turcios doesn't want to get knocked out. So obviously Turcios showed some more heart and gall in that last one, but he really depended on Sopai falling off a cliff, and I don't think Smotherman will do that. So I'm going to take Smotherman probably by decision, but I do think he'll beat Turcios up a good bit. I might be reading that wrong, but we'll just have to see. Josh Hokit versus Denzel Freeman. So this is an interesting one. I mean, Hokit's been dusting everybody. He's a D1 wrestler. He's a solid athlete. I mean, guy can really wrestle, and he's only 28. He looks a little older, but he's only 28. He's got a lot of potential in the UFC. I'll be straight up with you. I'm taking Hokit to win. There's no way I'm taking Denzel, who does slow down a bit, but you see the reach. Almost 5 inches of reach. He's a southpaw. It's going to be hard for Hokit to work his game as effectively as he's done these other, dare I say, cans. Denzel didn't impress me too much in the PFL. He looked good in his last one, though, and I feel like the UFC is a place where he can shine. This guy wrestled, in the Olympic trials. This guy really knows how to wrestle. And so if he can defend a few takedowns and make Hokit work, it's going to get greasy. But Hokit is a D1 wrestler. These guys have a different mentality. They can grind endlessly. So if Hokit's not knocking him out recklessly, or if he's not taking him down at will, which I think Hokit might have some luck eventually, early or late, just he's either going to have to wear Denzel down, or he's going to look good early and then Denzel's going to kind of take over late. But I feel like either way, Hokit's going to at least win 2 rounds or the majority of the fight. But I think you can play this one a little differently. I think people are going to expect Hokit to knock him out, or maybe Denzel lands a big shot. But I think this one goes the distance. I think Hokit's going to have to really work for this one, and I think he can get ugly. Not a huge fan of matchups like these where both guys can wrestle a bit. Not going to go against Hokit. He's a serious D1 wrestler at heavyweight. I like his potential, but again, could get ugly, could get sloppy. Maybe I'm wrong about that. We'll see. Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez. Color me impressed that Michael Johnson is still fighting, and a bit surprised. I mean, he has taken some hellacious knockouts in his career. The Gaethje one comes to mind. I mean, I really thought his career was going to be over soon after that. And even the Khabib beatdown. These are obviously the best guys in the world at the time, but still, he's taken some hellacious beatings. And he's also had a nice little resurgence here. Thing about Alexander Hernandez, this guy is surprising me at every turn. He is the younger man by a good margin. Michael Johnson is pushing 40 here, and Alexander Hernandez had some fantastic wins lately. He moved down to featherweight, looked awful, getting finished by guys like Billy Q. I mean, which is just insane to think about. But Hernandez at 155, it's his real weight class, and arguably he could probably fight at welterweight because he cuts a bit. But dude is hyper athletic, and he's filling that potential that we thought he would, have when he knocked out Dariush in his debut. We were like, this guy might be the future. And finally, he's kind of fitting those shoes, and he's 33, still young enough to do some things at lightweight, and the Chase Hooper win was solid. The Carlos Diego Figueiredo win was fantastic too. He showed he is on that level. And I like Hernandez here. The odds have started to spread apart because people do like Hernandez in this one. They opened a bit more closely. And Johnson can obviously trouble Hernandez here. But you got to remember, Hernandez can really wrestle too. And Johnson might have some luck finding the range, but he's never been good. He falls off a cliff too, especially if guys can grapple a bit. The Thiago Moises fight comes to mind, Hernandez could definitely sub him too, if he doesn't knock him out. So I don't really see this one going the distance. Both guys like to finish. MJ just is an annoying striker, man. He'll hit you with those sharp shots and you just want to touch him and get him out of there. I think Hernandez probably takes him down, subs him. If he doesn't, just crack him early. So I do like Hernandez in this one a good bit. And then we move on. Charles Energy Johnson versus Alex Perez. Congrats to Charles Johnson getting added to the UFC 5 game. I do not play those games. I don't like fighting games. I'm not good at them. But I know it must mean something for a fighter to get added to the game, So congrats to him. He's a solid fighter. He's got a win over the current champ, Joshua Van. And I like Charles Johnson a lot in this matchup. He's got a lot of reach on Alex Perez, and he is a switch hitter too. So the southpaw nature of Perez isn't going to bother him too much. Charles Johnson can really work both angles too. He likes to switch stances. He hits hard from both sides. He's going to have 3 inches of reach, 4.5 inches of reach, 3 inches of height. He's a massive flyweight. He is a massive flyweight, really tall. And I like Charles Johnson here. I mean, Perez might have some luck early wrestling, trying to get his back, trying to backpack him a bit, just be annoying, because that's how you got to fight Charles. He's long, so there's a lot of body you can wrap around and try and choke him out. But it's got a little too much endurance, I think, for Perez. And once Perez starts falling off that cliff and gassing, it's a wrap, man. I think Charles can put him away. Honestly, I'm going to take the decision, but I do think Charles can put him away at some point. I like Charles Johnson a lot. I'm actually confident in a lot of plays this card, which worries me and also gets me excited, but there's no reason Perez should win this fight. I feel like Perez has kind of been checked out for a long time. He had some moments, in the past few years, but I think that time's at an end. Let's move on to Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. It's a close fight on paper and odds-wise, because Bukauskas hasn't fought the level of guys that Krylov has fought. But then again, Bukauskas is in his zone right now. He's finding his stride. Krylov has looked nothing but garbage, man. That shin cannot get disturbed. If that shin is touched in this fight especially, which Bukauskas has shown a knack, shown some knockout power against some low-level dudes, but Krylov has also shown a chin which it's like, dude, you are not the level you were at. And I mean, Krylov's got a fantastic record, 30-11. He's beaten some guys, man. He's beaten some real dudes, and he's competed with the best of them. But lately, his chin is just getting touched. And in the last couple, it looks like he doesn't even belong in the cage. It's like, dude, did you even prepare? After his brutal shoulder injury and surgery, it's just like, dude, are you even there anymore? He just doesn't look like the same guy. He used to be so explosive in the first. Now he just looks uncoordinated, just throwing and gassing out so hard. But Modestas is he's very calm in there. He can find his range. He's become a knockout artist of sorts, and I actually like him to get the knockout here. Not so much because I think Modestas is so great. I think Krylov is just really fallen off, man. And I could be wrong here. I thought the same about Dominic Reyes, and Dominic Reyes has had a great resurgence till he ran into Olberg, but you can argue that Olberg might be the next champ. So not a terrible loss. So Krylov, if there was a fight where he was going to come back and maybe look himself, this is the one to do it, man, because if he gets knocked out by Bukauskas, his UFC career is probably done. I'm going to take Bukauskas by KO. From what I've seen in the last two, Krylov is not the man he was. But again, maybe that was the injury. Maybe he's formulated a plan around the recovery, and he's like, well, I just needed a couple fights to get back into it. Because we know the guy can wrestle. We know the guy was always known for kind of gassing out after the first, but we've seen him wrestle for 3 rounds. He's had some impressive wins, and you can't count out Krylov completely, because the guy is extremely dangerous on all fronts, whether it be knockout, wrestling, submissions. But really, the knockout threat is there for Krylov. He's had some slick knockouts. He's got a mean high kick. But again, the chin's not there, and I can't trust it. Durability first in the fight game. If you can't take a shot, it don't matter how good you are. Take Bukauskas there. Probably by early knockout, sadly. I'm a Krylov fan, too. He entertained for a long time. Before he was Capone, before he was the minor, he was Capone. I do miss that Krylov, so we'll see. We'll see. Bukauskas by KO is the pick, though. All right, Ateba Gautier versus Andrey Pulyaev. So this is an interesting one. Pulyaev looked terrible in his last one. That was an odd matchup, and he did come back and beat Nick Klein and just kicked the hell out of his body. It was awesome. Ateba Gautier is just a marauder, man. Every time this guy gets tested, he just comes back and wins. Even on the Contender Series, he was getting absolutely manhandled and wrestled and then came back and knocked that guy out. This guy is just pure steel, man. He's just made out of something different. Hits so hard. And I was surprised to see he's actually going to have the longer reach here. I was surprised because Pulyaev is always seemingly like the longer guy, What's interesting is that Pulyaev is southpaw. And Gautier also, it says that he has a high significant strike rate, which, he technically does, because, everything he throws, he's pretty much landing on these guys. But these guys are a different level to Pulyaev. I think Pulyaev is actually probably one of the most dangerous guys, if not the most dangerous guy Gautier has faced. And I'm not really worried about Gautier getting knocked out. I know he's got a fantastic chin. Again, he's made out of something different. He's only 23 years old, so he's learning on the job too. But Pulyaev poses a lot of problems on the feet. He can also get his own takedowns. You can't sleep on that. He is somewhat well-rounded, even though people think he is a pure kickboxer. We've seen different facets of his game. We've also seen Christian Leroy Duncan not really want to strike with Pulyaev. he was just clinching him a lot because Pulyaev is annoying, man. He's an annoying southpaw on the feet. You can't really trust Gautier to just knock this guy out early. This guy poses some real distinctive problems, and Gautier at the end of the day is a pure striker. You know, he is very Ngannou-esque, but he's extremely dangerous. And this isn't a confident play, and I am going to pick against Gautier, and I know people are going to be like, what is wrong with you? But you have to take your dog shots, and cumulatively, I don't like a lot of dogs on this card. So I'm shooting big. I'm going to take Pulyaev. I'm taking Fugitt early in the card. I think Fugitt's got a really good shot just because of the competition he's kind of lost to and his wrestling skill set. This is more of a gut play. And I think Pulyaev by decision is a really interesting play if he does mix in a takedown around. If Gautier is just unable to get to him like he's gotten to other guys with the knockout, you know? It's not saying he can't. You know, it is a pay-per-view, and that's what they want. They want the knockout. Things can get fishy, though. This is a test for Gautier that's unlike any other test because Puliev's gonna pose some problems. You watch the Christian Leroy Duncan fight, and you just wonder why Christian Leroy, who is a very skilled, long, big striker, powerful striker himself, why he was clinching Pulyaev. It's because you don't really want to get involved with this southpaw. He's annoying. He starts kicking your legs. He can pick you apart. So I'm going to take Pulyaev. I know it's a little crazy, but you got to take the dog shot if you're feeling it, you know. Everyone and their mother's going to be on Ateba Gautier, and that's fair. If he wins by knockout, if he wins period, it is what it is, you know. Me personally, I'm not parlaying Gautier. I'm taking a little dog shot on Pulyaev. Just saying. That's how I feel, so we'll see. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. I mean, I've even seen people on Figgy in this one, which I think is absolute blasphemy. I see no way Figgy can win this one. Umar's in the same odds range that he was against Bautista, which is a little disrespectful to Bautista, but seeing the way that fight unfolded, Umar did end up dominating him. He has grown a lot, and he's learning on the job too. Deiveson just much too old at this point. I didn't even know that Umar was already 30, but Figgy being 38, pushing 39, 3 inches shorter. He's the reach doesn't so much matter because Figgy actually uses his reach quite well. The problem is Umar's a fantastic striker too. It's not like Umar just has to shoot for his legs to win this. Umar could knock him out. I mean, Umar is very talented on the feet, and Figgy's chin a little iffy, you know, especially with the quarry finish. And his age and just the wars with Moreno. I mean, you know, but he's had a fantastic legacy at flyweight. I think bantamweight, you know, and Umar is truly the elite of bantamweight. It's just a little too out of Figgy's realm. I'm surprised this fight got made. It feels like a serious mismatch. The odds say it's a mismatch. I think everybody knows it's a mismatch, except a few who might just be holding out hope that Figgy's going to crack him. Don't see that happening because again, Umar is just a better striker than even guys that Deiveson has dropped like Cheeto, and hell, I would put Umar, you know, Sean O'Malley's a very talented striker, but when you actually look at it, like Umar can strike with anybody. He is such a fantastic fighter, and the more he grows, I mean, championship belt is inevitable, so we shall see. Sean Silva versus Arnold Allen. Yeah, so I was thinking about taking Arnold Allen here. And I'm still not against it. You know, he's got an inch of reach on John. He's the taller man. He's also a solid wrestler. In my opinion, John Silva is better everywhere than Arnold Allen. Like, I feel like his wrestling is better. I feel like his striking is better. Arnold is a southpaw, but that shouldn't matter too much because John Silva's just a much better striker. And Arnold Allen can definitely get caught looking in the mirror a lot of the times. His volume is really his only detriment because he's a pretty talented and hyper athletic guy. John Silva, I was going to fade him because it's only been 4 months since he got finished by Diego Lopez. And I just wanted to rewatch that Lopez fight to be like, was the damage insurmountable? What is it, something he can't recover from in 4 months? And not really. You know, it wasn't like a prolonged beating in the end. That's probably why he is coming back so quickly. Obviously, he's got some IQ issues that he needs to change in the cage, and hopefully that fight against Lopez taught him a lesson. You know, you can't underestimate anybody. You can't just have faith in landing that one shot. He needs to really just, yeah, but that's the thing about Allen. He's not going to really push the pace. It's kind of a perfect matchup for Silva to just create a masterpiece here. He's just going to light Allen up and just look really good. I think Silva could sub Allen possibly. I don't really see the knockout. Allen's so tough, and I'm really kind of leaning the decision here. Obviously, it's a pay-per-view, and the UFC doesn't want that. It's not about what they want, though. It's about the style matchup and what I see. I think Silva by decision is a solid play. Unless he maybe hurts Allen to the body or something like that. Allen shoots and maybe the guillotine's there or some. John Silva's very sneaky against the cage. Slash on him maybe a ninja choke or something. But Arnold Allen's very talented and has been in there with the best of them. I was really only going to take Allen if I felt the damage was really bad on Silva in the last one. And he took a beating, but it wasn't something crazy. So because you notice in the last sequence when Diego does get him down and catches him with the spinning elbow, the ref ends it pretty quickly after a little more ground and pound. I think Silva was just exhausted, never fought 5 rounds before, didn't know how to pace himself for 5 rounds. And that was it more than anything. Because skill for skill, I think Silva's better everywhere. I think Silva's a better offensive wrestler. I think Silva's a better striker. Allen just never really pushes the pace enough for you to see his full skill set. And I don't know. I think his athleticism has carried him a long way. So I think Silva's just as athletic. He's faster on the feet. So I'm going to take John Silva there. And we'll move on to Natália Silva versus Rose Namajunas. Is it really like a passing of the guard card if it does end up being like that? I mean, it feels like the UFC is kind of ushering in a new era and giving some of these new fighters who are really talented some old heads. I'll call Rose an old head. Who can give them, some star power. But Rose has fought a lot of girls, given them their opportunities. And for a 15-7 record, I mean, Rose is probably the greatest 15-7 fighter of all time. Natália Silva also has a 19-5-1 record, but she took some time off to really get acquainted with herself to come back to the, not to come back to the UFC, but to go into the UFC prepared. And my God, she has been nothing but spectacular. Even if some of the performances are a little lackadaisical and you might want a little more volume from her at times, this is a matchup where she should shine because Rose, she's degraded a bit, and Natália Silva is just on the way up, and I've been nothing but impressed with her. It's going to be extremely hard for Rose to find the range. Rose just hasn't had motivation to fight for a while, it seems like, because her performances they really just don't show what she used to have fervor. I mean, even watching like the Angie Hill fight when she rocked her and just went straight for the choke, straight pure finisher, man, just always going for the finish. And lately, it's very lackadaisical. Obviously, she's deep into her career. She's only 33 years old. And Natália, not that much younger at 28, but Natália is a southpaw, a tricky southpaw, fantastic kicks, so many angles on her. I love Natália in this matchup, and I feel like there's some fights where people might be a little confused, but I'd have no fear in taking Natália in a parlay. I am going to parlay her. I have parlayed her. Probably throw some more money on her. Even at 4.5 to 1, I don't care. She is streaking. She is fantastic. I think she wins this fight everywhere. So Natália Silva, most likely by decision here. And then our new co-main event. And I am going to skip the Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Derrick Lewis fight. If you want to check that one out, check out my 1-minute prediction. I have a confident pick in that one. So if you want to know what I think, check that one out. I'll be doing 1-minute predictions. Take the dog series that's still around. Only if I'm confident in the pick and I can make a sole video just dedicated to it because I'm like, this guy ain't going to lose. So check that video out if you care what I think on that heavyweight main card match. And yeah, appreciate it regardless. Here we go with the co-main event. Sean O'Malley, Song Yadong. This card, a little underwhelming in my book. People love it. Me, not so much. I feel like, this new era, it's going to take some time getting used to these fighters because it takes a lot of years and a lot of experience for fighters to really hone in on what they are. And I feel like the old era, what's wrong with me tonight? The old era was a little archaic because you could, if you were well-rounded and you had an elite skill set anywhere, you could become champion. You could become ranked 1. I mean, look at the Chris Weidmans and the Luke Rockholds. Those guys were really only good in like one area. Weidman with the wrestling. Luke Rockhold was a solid striker, kickboxer, but really his jiu-jitsu carried him through. And I don't know, now, people are just good everywhere and they change fight to fight. So it's going to take a little time getting, acquainted with this new era of fighter. But this one is kind of old school. O'Malley and Yadong have been around for a long time. And Song Yadong, I think, is coming in severely underrated here. Sean O'Malley is so self-cognizant though, and he's so respectful, and I like the guy a lot more now. He's seriously matured. But when it comes to the fight game, I don't know where his head is at. I also see there's like a mistake. I don't know why it says he has a 31-inch reach. O'Malley, pay no mind to that. O'Malley definitely has the longer reach here. He's the taller guy as well. I love Song Yadong's judo, and he's been trading with some real legit judo black belts lately. And even in the Cejudo fight, his wrestling looked fantastic. O'Malley better be prepared. Song Yadong is hungry. The guy hits hard as hell. And that doesn't matter as much as the judo that he's going to put on O'Malley, because if O'Malley's not ready for that, it's going to be a whirlwind, man. Yadong seems ready to win this, and he seems hyper focused on getting into the mat. He's really been working his judo a lot, and that's smart. You just don't want to strike with O'Malley. He's extremely skilled on the feet, extremely long. His attributes alone just make it such a difficult puzzle, especially at 135. You have a guy who's almost 6 feet tall, jabbing you, kicking you, and those shots hurt. He knows how to make them sharp, and sharp shots hurt the most. And so Yadong is extremely durable. I don't see Sean getting a knockout. So if Sean does win, it's most likely just a beatdown by decision. But I like Yadong here. I'm so out of it. I don't know what is going on. You can trust the plays. Just don't trust my grammar or my English right now. I'm going to take Song Yadong here in finality. I think he gets it done by decision, but I think Song Yadong actually has a better chance to finish O'Malley than O'Malley does Song Yadong, just because Song Yadong has more tools. Yeah, he can finish it on the ground, probably by sub, ground and pound. Song Yadong is also a knockout threat, and you don't know what'll happen if O'Malley gets tired. And O'Malley's just been kind of toying with the idea of retirement and whatnot, and that's never a good thing. And Song Yadong is so tough. In the course of 3 rounds, I just don't see O'Malley putting him away. And O'Malley is just one-dimensional, so he only really has his striking. And I just don't trust that against a guy like Song Yadong, who is hungrier than ever, and the hunger levels are just different, I feel like Yadong's momentum, his hunger, his motivation, just all different than O'Malley's, much higher than O'Malley's right now. And I think we're going to see that judo skill set. It might sound dumb if O'Malley just completely schools him on the feet, which is a possibility. But I'm just feeling a Song here. All right, then we move on to Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. This is a tough one. If you're on Gaethje, I don't completely hate the play. There was like staph infection rumors, and it honestly did look kind of bad on Gaethje, which kind of turns the dial way more towards Paddy. When I see guys with staph, it's like I don't like that at all. Combination of antibiotics and just your body getting eaten up, it's not good. Regardless, if we're talking a pure fight, Justin Gaethje, he's a dangerous guy. He doesn't really go for the finish, and that honestly makes him more dangerous in this matchup because it makes him more effective over the course of 5 rounds. I think that Paddy Pimblett, although he's the younger man, I mean, he's already 31 himself. He said he's never been through a war. I mean, I remember that Arosa fight. That was a tough fight. He's even puked blood in the Cage Warriors cage. I mean, the guy has seen some tough fights, but lately he just looks good, man. I mean, even against Ferguson, he was eating some hard shots, and then bang, he just finishes Ferguson, knocks him down. He's smashing dudes. The Bobby Green win was also very eye-opening, that Paddy can really hurt you with his kicks, with his hands. I mean, I was even impressed against Vendramini. With that knockout is honestly one of the best of Paddy's career, and it was a fantastic apex knockout. I love that knockout. It really showed that Paddy's not afraid to bang. Because, when you think of Paddy when he came into the UFC, you're just like, who is this jiu-jitsu guy? He's a British guy. He's jiu-jitsu. Is that even, viable? But they signed Paddy knowing he was ready, and this guy is ready. He's finally full-fledged. He's big for the division. Although Gaethje, it says he's taller, I'm just not sure about these metrics anymore. UFC just lies constantly. The reach is there. And although Justin isn't a quitter like Chandler has one good round in him and quits, whereas Gaethje will hang around and not go anywhere unless you really put him away. I do think that they're similar. You watch Gaethje and Chandler, I mean, Gaethje eats big shots every fight. Fiziev is more methodical, and so he was able to have luck with that, and he'd fought Fiziev before, but Gaethje gets hurt a lot, man. And if Paddy touches him, it's all bad because Paddy will hop on that neck. He'll hop on the guillotine. He'll hop on your back. And he's learned to implement ground and pound. I mean, Chandler, he really put a beating on, man. And so he's a dual threat now. He's got great leg kicks. The Bobby Green fight was eye opening. I mean, he can really kick your legs back. So if Gaethje's really working the leg kicks and Paddy's just unafraid to trade them, he's a younger, stronger guy. And man, it's not like I'm super confident in Paddy, but little subtleties are slowly, bringing me towards the confident side. So the pick is Paddy. It always was Paddy. Um, and as each day passes, I get a little more confident. I'm scared because it's Justin Gaethje. The guy is always dangerous. There's a lot of respect there between them, at least on Paddy's side. He knows what he's dealing with, and that's a good thing. So I'm going to take Paddy the Baddy to become the interim champion. I don't know how he'll fare against some of the contenders, Armin and Ilya. Those are dangerous, dangerous, dangerous fights. But for now, Gaethje's a bit of the old guard who has a lot of, he has a lot of, what should I say? I mean, he has tendencies to get hit. He has some weaknesses I think Paddy can really exploit here. And it's a good way to usher in the new era on Paramount. So let's have a good night. Good luck.